Hey everyone! We are finishing up our fall stitch along today. I can't remember what number this is, so I'm just pulling up my pattern because I like to tell you what number we're using, but I simply don't remember. So it is E677. So this is a metallic that we're going to use today. Are we ready? A lot of people don't like working with the metallics, but I'm here to say that they can be used. It's okay. All right, I am not going to do all of the sparkle. I'm just gonna do like one side. So what we're gonna do is work with a single strand. I think one problem people have with metallic threads is they work with too many strands, or they work with strands that are too long. So let me show you. We're gonna work with short pieces. So this is about the length of my forearm, wrist to elbow. It's not very long. We're just gonna work with a short piece at a time. That'll help so it doesn't fray. That will help it not get knotted as easily. The only problem with these is like a single strand is like two strands. So this is still like one single strand. So this comes 6-stranded like the cotton thread does, but then they're twisted together with two pieces. So it's a little bit finicky, but we're gonna be fine. All right, so we're gonna get that in our needle first. You can't lick these because they're not cotton. I mean, you can, but they're not gonna stick together. So first of all, I like working with a single strand because it doesn't fray as easily. I also keep my tail really short, so then I don't have to move it. So if I'm working with a really long piece of thread and my tail is short, then it's hard to work with because your working thread is too long. So short pieces, short tails. This way I don't have to move my needle. It'll kind of like bend it, and it'll start to fray right here where your eye is. So we want to keep it so we don't have to move it. So this tail is about the length of my thumb. And then I usually do like 2 or 3 knots at the end. So we've got 1. I have found if I hold on to the knot like this, like I'm holding on to it, and then to make another knot, it is a little bit easier to get them to knot on top of each other. That's probably good. If you want to do it one more, you can. All right, so we're gonna do some little X's and some French knots with our metallic thread. So easy one first is to do the X's. I'm gonna do them at the same time because I don't want to have to go back around with another piece of thread. So another thing with metallic thread is just work really slow, which I know can sometimes feel frustrating, but if you pull it through a little bit slower, there's not as much friction. So it is not going to like tangle and shred as easily. Now, French knots are where things get a little bit trickier because they're just a little bit more finicky. So I'm gonna do a double wrap. I'm gonna do it the same way, but I'm not gonna pull it quite as tight because it'll shred. So just don't pull it as tight as you normally would, and should be fine. It just knots a lot easier. So we're just go really slow. All right, now I've done these two. I'm just gonna drag my thread over here to the bottom and do these other ones. Let me zoom in this time and I'll show you these French knots a little bit closer. We'll only be able to do like these 2 little sections before we have to get more thread, which is fine. We're not worried about that. Now, if I had pulled this as tight as I would with cotton, it would look like this, but that's gonna be really hard to get our needle through, and it's gonna start shredding our thread. So I keep it fairly loose. And it kind of creates like a little bit of a circle, almost like a bubble, instead of like a knot. Do you see that? Let me get a little bit closer. You see how it's kind of a circle instead of a knot? That's because I left it a little bit looser, which I'm totally fine with because I would rather not have my thread shredding. Okay, and then we'll come down here and do our X, and then we'll tie it off and get our other piece of thread. Okay, now these are not going to stand out quite as much as these are. So if you want to go over this a second time, that would make these stand out a little bit more. So you have 2 strands just going in those same holes. That'll make these stand out a little bit more if you want to do that, like the little cross stitches. If you're gonna do that, I would recommend doing both of these ones and then doing the cross ones. So then you're not like layering them like I just did. I'm gonna undo it. If you have to undo it, same thing. So look, that's where my needle was. You see how it like shreds it? So we are avoiding that. And as you start like trying to pull it out, it'll start kind of shredding it, which is fine because we're gonna start with a new piece next. Let me get this tied off real quick. There we are. I'm gonna tie it off the same way I do my cotton ones. Hold on. Just gonna come right over here by this one. And just tie it off. Okay. I am totally fine wasting metallic thread. I mean, it's not really wasting, but that's about how much I have left from my piece. But this part is gonna be not usable anyways because of how it pulls through the needle. So I probably could have done like another X or something if it was right there, but anyways, we are not worried about that. We are going to just start a new piece. Okay, so same thing. The tail is about as long as my thumb. And then we're gonna tie some knots at this end. I would love to know if you are gonna use metallic or are you gonna use cotton or do nothing. It's cute without. I don't think I've ever, well, not never. I very rarely use metallic thread in stitch-alongs because so many people don't like it and it's way harder to work with, and I try and keep my stuff really beginner friendly. So a lot of people don't like it, but I love like just that little bit of sparkle. I think is so fun. Once these lines erase, it's gonna be way cute. Okay. So I'm just gonna come down here to the bottom and work on this next little part. I think I might just do the whole thing on video because This is a short day of instruction. We're just working slowly. Now, DMC's line of, they have like their metallics and then they have like the light effects. So the light effects are a little bit easier to work with in my opinion. They don't shred quite as easily as the metallics do. And it's gonna be like the opalescent kind of colors. Where these ones are like shiny, they are like shimmery. Unpopular opinion, but I love using it. Kind of made it my signature to have it in every project, sometimes just a super small amount. I love that. I'm so glad that you use it because it really is so fun to just add a little pop. I especially love to use it like in florals and just add like little accents. Like you could add just like one line down a leaf or something like that. Like it's so fun to use just for little pops. So I think that's so great. I love that you do that. So then, do you have any other tips that I haven't shared since you use it all the time? What do you think of my tips? I feel like other people do things differently. So if you have something else to add, feel free. All right, I'm going to tie this off and move to the next spot. So another thing, if you haven't already cut your thread, another thing that I do is I only cut one strand at a time. So I've got like my 6 pieces, my 6 strands, and I don't just like go ahead and cut. I take this and I just get one piece. You're not on camera, Heather. I just get one piece and cut that. And then I leave the rest together because, so then I just have this one piece cut on this because I feel like it's easier to store. I have to make sure not to pull too hard with metallics, for sure. They have a lot of plastic in them, so they kind of like, well, these ones don't as much as like the light effects do. The light effects ones are more plastic, where these ones have like maybe a polyester core, like you can kind of see it right there. But yeah, if you pull them too tight, they for sure cause more issues. There we go. Okay, so we're gonna move up to here. I couldn't remember if I drew on all my spots, so I keep looking at my pattern. Great tips, small amounts, but I found one on Amazon that I like better than DMC. I use all DMC except this on gold metallic. It's called Le Paon, Lepaon, she thinks. The other thing I have noticed, I don't know that brand, but now I'm curious and I might have to try it. The other thing that I've noticed is that the diamond, is that what it's called? Thread? I might have to go get my sparkly thread. I feel like the diamond is easier to use. I'm going to do this little section and then I'm going to go get my metallic threads because while we're talking about metallics, we may as well pull them all out. I definitely think that DMC could do a better job with their metallics and light effects. I feel like they've tried in the last few years to, like when they put out the diamond thread, it's a little bit easier to work with, but I'm gonna have to go looking for that thread now. I'm curious. Okay, that one was a little bit messy. But you can do the same things with these as I was telling you with the other ones. Like if you come up next to it and go down inside of it, we'll like tack that down a little bit so it's not as like crazy. Okay, we're gonna move up here. I gotta take it out of my hoop stand. So I'm not gonna take this out of my hoop stand. I'm going to leave you with that. I mean, I'm not gonna leave. I'm gonna go get my other metallic threads, but I think you get the point. Just like moving slowly, just from one spot to the next. Let me grab my other metallic threads and we can talk about them. Hold on one second. I have so many specialty threads. Okay, so I wonder if they're in here though. Hold on. Okay. All right, so metallic versus the light effects. So usually like the lighter colors are the light effects. So these are the light effects ones. And they're kind of like almost stretchy. They're like more plastic. They're more shimmery than shiny, if that makes any sense. More opalescent versus like sparkle. I don't know, can you see the difference? So metallic, light effects. But they have like, I mean, look at, they're just like, they're so pretty. I love this one. But I have found no good way to store these. They are just messy. So they just go in there. I have, like from my mom's collection, I don't ever use these, but I mean, I haven't for a long time, but this says rosé. I don't know. Anyways, it's pretty much the same. It's a little bit more delicate. Let's see. These boxes, these are from Michael's. It's photo storage boxes. So while we're at it, it's like this, and it has like all of these like photo storage boxes. That's how I store my thread. It's very fun. So then I have like my variegated threads. Okay, so let's talk about the diamond thread. So it's single stranded. You don't separate these. It's a little bit thicker. I feel like it's a little bit easier to work with. I mean, you could separate them, I guess, but it's like these three are like twisted together. But it comes on spools. Like that. But I have a gold. Oh, that's sulky. I've got gold and silver, but they have like rose gold, copper, a dark gray one. I don't know. Another option for sparkle is sulky threads. So this is the brand, Sulky. These are sewing threads, so you wouldn't find them in the embroidery section. They'll be like in the sewing section. So these ones, this is plastic and it's like flat. So there's like two sides. It's like a flat piece. but this is like sewing thread that's like sparkly. These are really, really, really fun. This is what I use for photo embroidery. I have more colors. They have tons of colors. This one is more like the metallic, like DMC metallic thread, but it's very, very, very thin. Like it's really thin. And then these are like plastic. I think they're called hollow shimmer. Let's see. Yeah, hollow shimmer. But they're like flat. Anyways, those are really fun for sparkle too. So if you're wanting to test out some options, you're pretty much covered. And then there's always like satin thread. I do not love working with satin thread. I think it's very difficult to work with. Like look at this. It just like shreds. But it's like super, super soft and like has like a satin sheen to it. So it's like kind of not sparkly, but it's like has a sheen to it. I think it's hard to show on camera, but way hard to see on camera. Anyways, there's satin threads too, but I don't like working with those. All right, friends, that is the end. So work on the sparkle. Let me know how it goes. And then next week I will do a day to show you how to finish the backs of your hoops. So I'll wait till after the weekend so you have plenty of time to work on your sparkle. And then let me know if you have questions. I will be around, so send me a message and let's see your finished hoops. I'll probably be live Monday or Tuesday next week to go over finishing your hoops. I'm going out of town Thursday, so Wednesday will be busy. So Monday or Tuesday we'll finish the backs. So get ready for that, and thank you for joining, and I will see you later. Bye.